Well, hello. It's time for another story out of Taylor's Bible Story book. And I'd like to give a special shout out to my wonderful grandchildren, Boston and Ella and Eli. I love you guys. This is one of the most famous stories in the Bible. It's probably one of the most dramatic stories in the Bible. And it's about Moses and the parting of the Red Sea. And today's story is number 36. And it's called The Egyptian Army Dies. Finally, the people of Israel had escaped from Egypt. At last they were free. What a wonderful feeling it must have been. They were no longer Pharaoh's slaves. The Lord led them toward the Red Sea to a place called Etham on the edge of the desert. There they set up their tents and they made camp. As they traveled along, the Lord was very kind to them. He went before them in a cloud to show them the way. The cloud was shaped like a pillar reaching up toward heaven. They could see it all the time. As they walked along, it moved on ahead of them so that they could follow it and know where God wanted them to go. In the daylight, it looked like a cloud, but at night, it became a pillar of fire. It gave them light at night so they could travel whenever the Lord wanted them to travel, whether it was day or night. Almost as soon as the Israelis left Egypt, Pharaoh and his officers were sorry that they let them go. Why did we ever let them go away from us? They asked. Then Pharaoh and his soldiers got into the chariots and they chased after the people of Israel. They caught up to them as they were camping by the Red Sea. The Israelites saw the Egyptians coming, and they were frightened, and they cried out to God. Then they turned against Moses, and they blamed him for getting them into this trouble. It would have been better to stay and have been slaves in Egypt, they said, than to be killed in the desert. But Moses told them not to be afraid. Wait and see what the Lord will do for you, Moses said. For the Egyptians you have seen today will never be seen again. The Lord will fight for you, and you won't need to do a thing. When Pharaoh and his army had almost caught up to them, the cloud in front of them moved behind them and came between them and Pharaoh's army. The cloud was dark on the side where Pharaoh was, and his soldiers couldn't see. But the side on the cloud that was turned toward Israel was bright as fire and gave people the light in their camp. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel to start marching to the sea, and when they get there, point your shepherd's staff toward the sea, and a path will open up in front of you through the water, and my people will cross on dry ground." So Moses pointed his staff toward the sea, and the Lord had told him to, just like the Lord had told him to, and the water opened up ahead of them and made a path across the bottom of the sea. The water was piled high on each side of them like walls, but they walked across on dry ground, and they were soon safe on the other side. There were 6 million people that crossed through these walls of water to the other side. The path through the water was still there the next morning, so when Pharaoh saw what happened, he and his chariots started across the walls of water, but the Lord made the wheels come off the Egyptian chariots, so they ground to a stop. Then the Egyptian soldiers panicked. "Turn around, let's get out of here," they shouted. "The Lord is fighting against us. He is for the Israelis." but they could not get out. The Lord told Moses to point his staff toward the sea again, and when he did, the water came together and covered the Egyptians, drowning the entire army. Not one soldier was left alive. The Israelis saw them lying dead upon the seashore where the waters washed them up. But Moses and the Israelis were safe on the other side of the Red Sea. There they sang a song of praise to the Lord for saving them from Pharaoh. And that's the end of the Egyptian army dies, and the nation of Israel was saved by Moses parting the Red Sea. What an exciting story. We'll see you next time for another story out of Taylor's Bible Storybook. Bye-bye for now.